Hi, it is actually me again. Hi. So it's Memorial Weekend. It's May 25th, and it's a wonderful weekend to do great things. So just felt like I need to get on video and talk about some things. One is testimonies. And what is a testimony? A testimony is a account of a story that has happened in your life that has impacted you based on a supernatural intervention, usually about a spiritual source, about God in your life, working through your life, in your life, for you. And so I have two stories about how God worked for me on my behalf, and mostly that came through prayer and God working it out for me. And it was just a little thing, it's not a big thing. And one of them was I was going through my old journals, which I keep a lot of them. I keep so many journals, you have no idea like how many journals I have packed away. And through the years, I've just always kept a journal because that was my way. It was cathartic. So that was my way of, coping with whatever I felt emotionally or whatever. So one of the emotions that I was feeling was worry. And that was like, what is it? We're in 2024 right now. So it was in 2020. It was in 2018. No, it was 2017, or I think it was 2018, around that time. And um I had wrote in my book, in my journal, in this journal. I had this journal. I got this pretty journal, and I was like, "Oh, this is such a cute journal. I want to write in it." It has yoga on the front. It's really cute with the Aztec looking design on it, and the papers are actually like paper, like paper bags. So I had this journal and I wrote in it, and I wrote something, so I'm going to read it to you really quick. Yeah, so this is what I wrote like years ago. You can't really see it much, but okay, I'm gonna say it. So it says, it would suck if I can't get clinical 2 years in a row, all due to not researching and finding a place myself. I hate this whole dumb situation. I hate this. It sucks. This is so stupid. God, Lord, I need a miracle. I need a sure place to go. I need a sure person to work with. God, what do you want me to do? Give me resolve to look and call and do something. Help me, God. I just want to be done. And that's what I wrote in my journal. That's what I wrote in my journal. And it's funny. This was the real and the raw. Like it was the real and the raw. And it was like what I wrote because I felt really stressed, really worried because I was in grad school. I took a little break because I couldn't get the clinical that I needed. The school didn't help us get clinicals. They said you have to go out and find one on your own. So you have to go do cold calling, cold emails, and find a placement where you could do your work, finish off your program. And I was in a public health nursing program. So I had to do something in public health, whether it's in a community center, a hospital. And so I was looking around and I wasn't getting anything. And it was just frustrating. And then time passed by and my deadline passed. And so I said, okay, I'm going to take a leave from school so that I could come back and try again. And I was at the point where I was at my second year and I was like, you know what? I'm at a loss right now. Like I'm not getting what I need. And I was frustrated and I was really overwhelmed. And I was like God, I need a miracle. I seriously need a miracle. And so I asked God to help me and I was like, Lord, please help me with this situation because I have no clue what to do, where to go. I need favor, I need help here. And so God worked it out because I look back on it now and that was so long ago. It was like 4 or 5 years ago and God did work it out. He actually did. He gave me some leads. I got two leads. I got really two good hot leads, and I went for two interviews. And they said, okay, we could work with you. And the one place that said they would take me, but they heard that I had also applied for another place to do my internship, and they said that place might be better for you. Why don't you go with that one? And so I was like, okay, because I had two options. And one was with a psych center, and then the other one was with a like for the poor and the homeless. And so I was gonna go with the poor and the homeless, but it was all the way in Manhattan. And then the one for the psych center was in Queens. It was closer in New York to me. So I was like, okay, I could do this. So I decided to go with the psych center. And actually the psych center worked out perfectly. The lady that took me, she was like, okay, we definitely need you. We would love to have you. And I was like, really? I was just so shocked. And I was so grateful. And God just opened the door. So I went, they told me to come in. They would speak to me, do the paperwork for me to get hooked up with them. And I got like, I think, did I get a card? No, I gave paperwork and we did an interview. She said, this is who you're going to be working with and this is what you're going to be doing and when can you start? And I was like, oh, this is great. You know, I got an internship. So I got my work, you know, I got it done so then I could do my hours to finish school. And so I was able to finish school and I was able to finish my grad school. Oh, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it, but everything worked out and I was just so grateful. And that was God working it out. That was a testimony because I seriously took a whole year off. I took a year, I think it was a year or semester. I took a year off because I couldn't finish my grad school because I didn't have that. I needed to do my clinical hours and I couldn't find a place to do my clinicals. And this is part of my clinicals. It's like an internship. It's free hours that you're putting in towards your college degree, towards the hours you put in of doing the work. So I did the work and I went in and we did, what do we do? So I worked with a nurse practitioner and it was cool. It was great. It was a great experience working in this facility. And I got to experience working with, you know, the mental health population and you know, doing health surveys. We did health surveys for the mental health population. So it was really good experience. So that was one where God worked that out for me. A more recent event was I went on a trip to LA. And I went on a trip to LA. I had planned this trip because I was going to a conference. It was like a conference, but then it turned out I didn't have to go in person because they were recording it and they were going to send us the recording. So I didn't have to go, but I felt like it would be cool to go because I've never been to LA. So I was like, I want to try to go to LA one day. So I did go, but I didn't go when I planned. I had planned to go in December, and December was the time of the conference. However, the day right before, I had planned for me to go home and then sleep for a little while and then get up early in the morning and travel to New Jersey, to the airport in New Jersey, Newark Airport, and leave to go to LA from there, from New Jersey. But however, my finger had a situation. It was very shocking because I was like, the day before leaving, my finger started hurting, my thumb. And I was like, why does my thumb hurt? And then it just kept hurting. And I was like, this is very strange. And it started to get swollen. And I was like, why is this my thumb? It was just the padding of the thumb was swelling. And it was just, and then I started noticing it looked a little yellowish. And I was like, why? And it was just very strange. And I was like, something's wrong here. And I work in a hospital. So I was like, did I cut my finger? Did something get in my finger? You know, so I was really concerned. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, I'm about to travel tomorrow. I don't want my finger to make me sick. I don't want something else to come up. So I was like, first of all, I was tired because I got home after that and I was like, should I still go? Because something's wrong with my finger here. And I was just concerned. And I was like, and then I just went to sleep and then I got up early and I was like, I don't know if I should go. So I just was like, okay, I'm gonna call the airport and just be like, um, I'm gonna call the airline and see if I can move my ticket before I have to go in. And so I moved the ticket and everything, and they said you could postpone it for a couple months till April. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then I canceled my hotel and everything, and I didn't go because I was concerned. I was like, something's wrong, and I'm really tired, and something must be off because maybe I'm doing too much. I don't know. And so it was just a weird situation. So I just didn't go that time. And then I ended up going 5 months later in April. So I went in April to LA finally. And at this point in time, everything was fine. I felt fine. I was great. I was healthy. No problem with my finger. And the situation with my thumb, it went away like a day or two after, like it went away by itself. And I was like, this is just so weird. I had no fever, no nothing. It's just my finger was just swollen for some reason. It just got swollen. I don't know. I looked it up. I was like, what is this? And then I read some things that said it could be a boil. And I was like, is this a boil? I was like, I've never had that before. So it was just a weird health situation that just came out of the blue. So I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to let myself rest. So I rested and then I went in April. So I went in April And I actually got to go. I was excited to go because like, okay, I'm finally going to LA. So I went. I had a two flights to go there. So it was a stop in Florida. And I get on the plane, and then the first, thing they say is, okay, we're gonna be leaving in so time. And then people were like, one person walked by me, and she was like rolling her eyes, like, yeah, that's what they say. And then I was like, why did she say that? And then sure enough, like on the loudspeaker, they were like, oh, we have a delay. We're gonna be like a 45 minutes late. And we're not gonna be leaving the tarmac for 45 minutes. So just relax. We're just not gonna leave yet because of some situation. I think it was, I'm not sure what it was. I forget what it was. I'm not sure what it was. I can't remember, but there was a reason why they had to delay the plane. So I was like, okay, we're delayed. And I was like, my connection flight was like, I was concerned about my connection flight, but somehow I was like, "Ugh, what should I do? I mean, I thought I had enough time. I was like, maybe I'll have enough time. And I was like, maybe things will come out. And then, but then we finally got to go. We finally got out in the air. We finally got to landing in Florida. We finally got there. And then everyone's clapping and happy and joyful and like, yay, we're in Florida and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get to my next flight, because as I looked at the clock, my connection flight was already boarding. And I was like, oh my gosh, my flight is boarding right now. And I'm still on the tarmac of one other plane. Can we please get off? And I was kind of in the front, so that was a good thing. But I was still like a few rows back. And I was like, there's a lot of people here. And then there was already someone complaining about being late for their connection flight. So that was one person. But a majority of the people on the flight were like only staying in Florida. They were done. They were like, this is home. We're here. We're finally in Florida. Yay, yay, yay. And I was like, I'm not done. I still have to travel. I have to go all the way to LA. And finally, I was just praying in my mind, like, God, please help me. I need to catch this next flight because I don't want to miss going to LA again. I already missed the first time because of my finger. I was like, what is going on? And I was like, why is it keep getting delayed with this situation? I just want to go to Florida, to LA. So I was like, okay, I was just praying in my head, like, Lord, I need to catch my flight. Please let me catch my flight. Please let me catch my flight. Please let me catch my flight. And I was just praying. And then another guy in the back of the plane was like, hey, what how come you said that the people who have a connection flight should get off first? Because the flight attendant did hear that certain people were complaining that they needed to catch their next flight, and we were already 45 minutes late and from departing from New York. So it was a whole delay. So they were like, okay, let's let the people that needs to get off so they can get past the crowd, because none of these other people are in a rush. And so we were concerned. And one guy was really loud. And I was like, thank God somebody's speaking up, because I was so bad, because I was nervous, because everybody was like slowly pulling down luggage, getting out their seats, stretching, happy go lucky, like we have no cares in the world. And I'm like, my flight is about to leave me. I need to be in LA in like a couple of hours. I need to get off this plane. And I was so freaked out. I was so flustered. I was like, what is going on? And the guy, he was an African American guy too. And he was like, I need to get off. And he said, my kids, we got to get off. We got to catch a flight to LA. And he said LA. And I was like, oh, I'm going to LA too. And he was like, yeah, I got to get off too. And he was like, excuse me. He was so loud. He was like, excuse me, can you move? We got to get off. We have to catch another flight. I was like, thank God somebody's speaking. And he just kind of like got everyone to sit down so we could get off. And they kind of was like, oh, those people need to get off. They need to get off. Let them get off. And it was like, I was like, thank God, thank God. So I got off with him, and we were running. We was running, and I dropped my scarf. I picked it up. I was like, oh, my scarf. I love my scarf, right? It was just a regular scarf. And I was like, oh, I dropped my scarf. So I just kept running. I was trying to pull my bags up and everything and make sure I have all my stuff, because I had like 2 bags, 3 bags. I had like I had 2 bags. I was trying to be economical. I was trying not to have luggage or anything like that. And so I just had very light bag. I just had a book bag. And so I had my book bag, and then I had a little carry bag. And I was running, and I saw him running, and I was like, okay. And then I saw the other lady, she had to get off too, because it was like only 3 of us out of everyone on the plane that needed to have a connection flight. And so we were like running because we were late. And so I was running. I was like, where's my flight? I looked at my ticket. It was like gate so and so. I was like, oh my gosh, gate so and so. And I was like, where am I right now? I looked at my gate. I was like 20 something, and I had to go all the way to this other one. I don't know. Yeah, I was like 18 or something. I had to go to 20 something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go all the way over there. So I started running. I was like, I can't walk. I have to run. So I really felt like, okay, let me try to, even though in my heart I felt peace, because at least the guy got us off past all the people, and that was one hurdle down. But then I had to get across the, across the whole, all the gates. And I was like, oh, I have to get across all these gates to get to the other side, to get to my flight. And so I was like, I'm gonna run. And I didn't feel like I needed to, but I just felt like maybe that's the smart thing to do. Because if I take my time, I might be more late and then they close the door. So I was like, I'm gonna run. So I started running, doing a little trot across the, even though everyone was mad easy going in Florida, it was so interesting. Everybody was so slow and moving like it was a snail's pace, and I was the only one running across the thing like a crazy person. I was like, am I crazy? Like, I was running. And then all of a sudden somebody said, hey, miss, your bag. And I looked and I was like, oh, my bag. Oh my gosh, my bag fell open and stuff was falling out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so he said, here, miss, here, miss. And he gave me my stuff. I was like, thank you. And a good thing it was in like little pouches. I had things in pouches inside of my book bag. So I had to drop like 2 pouches. I was like, okay, I think this is the main things that I had in my bag. So I zipped it up, tried to make sure it don't fall over again. And I just kept like running because I saw the guy with his kids, and he was like, I'm running after them, like running with them. And then I finally get to the gate, and they were still taking some people, and they were talking to some other person and telling this other person that your flight was you missed your flight or whatever. And the guy was like, so where do I go? And it was like, oh, you go this way. And I was like, oh no, I hope that's not me. And then the lady was like, oh, you trying to get on here? I was like, yeah. And then the guy got on, and we all got on at the same time on the same flight. It was so crazy. I was like, oh, thank God I got on. But then when I got in my seat, I was nervous because I was like, did I leave anything? Because I was running and I dropped things. And I was like, I think I had threw my toothpaste and toothbrush inside my bag without any, security in it. It might have fallen out. So I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to buy toothbrush and toothpaste. I felt sad about losing toothbrush and toothpaste. I was like, oh no, I think I lost it on the way because I was running. And I was like, oh, you stupid girl. I wasn't saying that, but I was like, I felt really bad. Like, oh no, I dropped stuff, and I was like, I might have lost something. I'm like, did I lose anything? I don't think I lost I had my wallet, had my phone, had everything. But I was so nervous that I lost something, and it was just so nerve-wracking. But the good thing is, okay, that flight that was like 5 hours from Florida to LA, I was like thinking about it and like, oh, but then I was trying to come to peace. Like, it's okay if you lost anything, it's okay. It's okay. I was like, I'm gonna be cool with it. It's okay. And I was just calming myself down, like, it's okay if you lost something. It's okay. It's okay. We'll replace it. We'll replace it. I was like, if I lost my toothbrush, I'll get another one. I'll get a new toothpaste. It's okay. And then I was like, okay, I finally got to the airport in LA, and I was just so calm, regular. I was like, okay, we made it. I was just so proud of myself. I even called my mom because I was like so nervous about, dropping things on my way running and almost missing my flight. I called my mom like, hey mom, I'm traveling to LA, because I wasn't gonna tell her. I was like, I was just gonna go and just come back. I was like, she'll find out when I come back. But then I felt kind of shaken because, almost missing my flight and dropping my stuff and feeling a little, I don't know, I travel, but I don't know, it was just a big deal to me to go to LA because it's like across the country. So I felt like I should just tell my mom. So maybe that was why, it prompted me to tell my mom. So I told my mom, and from that, maybe she prayed over me, but from there, I was good. I got to my hotel, and that was another thing. I had to wait for the shuttle, because they said there was a shuttle that comes every hour. I mean, every half an hour. So I was like waiting for the shuttle, and I got out right out. I found where the place was where the shuttles come for the hotels, and I was like, oh, there's my shuttle. That's the one, and it just rolled right past. I was like, what is happening here? He just rolled past. I was like, that's the shuttle. Why didn't he stop? I was like, okay, it's coming again. Don't worry. And then I was like, okay, let me wait. And so I waited. And I called the hotel just in case. I said, how often does the shuttle come? She said, oh yeah, every half an hour. They'll be back. I said, okay. I saw it again. He's coming, and he just went right by, and he didn't stop. And every other hotel bus was stopping. And I was like, why is this guy not stopping? And I was like, that's another half an hour I just missed. So I waited a half an hour. He didn't pass me. I waited another half an hour. He passed me. Well, I didn't, the first time I saw it, I was just there for like 5 minutes, and he came and passed. And then he came again and passed. And then he was about to come again. And I said, this is it. Third time's a charm. I ran into the street and was like, hello, I'm here trying to get on your bus. Can you please take me to the hotel? It's midnight. And that's another thing. I got there at midnight, like close to midnight. And I was like, I want to get back to the hotel. And by the time he finally picked me up, it was like 1 a.m. because I waited for a long time for him to come back. And I was like, this is crazy. I was upset. And I usually don't get upset about things like that. But I was like, why? Why did I have to wait 3 times for him to come around every half an hour? So I was like, okay. He said, oh, you have to wait a little bit closer up that way. But I was on the same stretch with everyone else, and the bus kept stopping in the same spot. But he just didn't think that was a spot. I don't know. Anyway, I got on and everything worked out. And I got to the hotel, and the lady walked me in and she said, oh, thank you for joining us. And, and then she had this paper and she was like, while you're here at your stay, you might hear a little noise in the morning. It's just noise. She said there's a strike going on. The hotel workers are having a strike. So I was like, really? Okay. And then she said, so how was your way? How was your flight over here? How was your travel? I was like, it's okay. But I had a really dead straight face and I was just kind of like not feeling anything because that waiting for that guy and then having the whole fiasco with my bag falling open and running across to get to the plane. I was a little bit, I mean, after a long time, I mean, I should be okay, but it was just a long day. So I was just like, it was okay. It was great. I got here. And then she said, I'll give you a free voucher for breakfast in the morning. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Because I didn't do the one where you get the breakfast included. So she gave me a free voucher for breakfast, which is like $23. So I was like, oh, thank you. So I got a nice breakfast in the morning. And it was really nice of her. But ironically, in the morning, there was noise that started. It started at 7 a.m. There was a hotel strike outside the hotel, which was so freaking ironic. I was like, this sounds like New York, because New York, when you live in the city, you hear cars, you hear honking, and their whole way of getting attention, these rioters, hotel, not a riot, but it was. I keep saying riot because I always think LA, and when I think of LA, I think of riots. I don't know why, but I think that's something in history, I think. But they were having a hotel strike. It was a strike. They were having a strike and they were like blowing bullhorns and drums, like literally sitting with drums outside the hotel at 7 a.m. in the morning. I was like, good thing I went to bed early. I mean, I went to bed like at one, it was like 1:30, 1:32 in the morning, and then I don't need that much sleep. So I woke up a little before they started and I heard them and I was like, interesting, this is a noise. And they went all day. I've never heard of this before. It was so interesting. I said, this is just one thing after the other, from the late plane, running across to get my flight, getting on the plane, worrying about losing toothbrush and the toothpaste. Like I was concerned about toothbrush and toothpaste the whole ride. And then getting there and the guy passing me like 3 times, almost the third time was the charm. And I was like, what is going? And then I get in a hotel and there's a strike, a hotel strike. But there was service. I was like, there was still service. She said, yeah, you'll still have people coming, the maids will come clean the room and everything. But I don't need them to clean the room because I'm only going to be there for like 2 days. So I don't care. And I was like, okay. But the voucher was very nice. So I got a nice breakfast. They had like fruits and waffles and, coffee and oatmeal and all that stuff. So it was nice. And yeah. So yeah, I had a nice time. And I got souvenirs, of course. So I brought my souvenirs. So this was my LA. Oh, you can't even see the bag. I wish you could see it. Wait. Okay, there. Okay, there it is. LA. I love LA. Okay. So yeah, that was the bag. Um and from the souvenir shop. And so I got some pretty little because it's an acting hub. So there's your acting thing there. And then this one is actually for my mom. I didn't give it to her yet. And then actually it could be for my grandma too. And this one is Beverly Hills. It's like a little clip. So I thought it was cute. And then of course the Hollywood sign. Beautiful, isn't it? So just keychains, things to give to my family. So I wanted to talk about that because I was like, this was just an interesting situation, all these things happening. And I guess it's a story to tell, but obviously God helped me. And I actually did not lose the toothbrush and toothpaste. It actually was at the bottom of my bag. I was like, oh my gosh, my toothbrush, my toothpaste is here. Yay. I was so concerned. And then when I got to the hotel, I checked my bags after I went to my room and it was there. Everything was there. I checked my whole bag. Everything was there. I said, oh, thank God. I did not lose one thing, not one thing. Everything was there. And I was so grateful. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I just have to say, like, it's the little things in life, it's the little things that really, amount to something. So I just have to say that. So that's what I want to talk about. That's all I want to say. Like, that's my testimony and I'm sticking to it. God worked it out. That was a little prayer. So, prayer works. It does work. And praying for things that you need, whether it's grace, whether it's a miracle, pray for the miracle, and somehow, some way, it will come. And if it doesn't, God has a better plan, and He knows what's best for the situation. So yeah, that's all I want to say. And this was a long video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you in another video.